Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another Supercoach Insider podcast. My name is Swizz, here to continue our team discussions. We're on to team number 3, the Melbourne Renegades. Before we get into that, as always, check us out on all our social media platforms and contact us via Twitter, supercoachinsider100 or Swizz26. Okay, I've got the Renegades third up, a bit like the Stars, double games 1 and 3, but they don't have that bye until round 7. Do play the highly fancied Scorchers in round 1 and 3, so they will be tough games. If they can get the victories in those matches, will go a long way for the Renegade season. The issue from them is a little bit of travel. They do have a bit of space between games 2 and 3, which is from that second game in the round 1 to the round 2 with an 11-day break, but they do play in 5 different venues in those first 5 matches for them. Can see why a lot of people are interested in them. At times, I've had up to 5 Renegades players in my side because of that double and then playing round 2 and then into the double again. In regards to their likely lineup, Quinton de Kock is out of round 1 completely. So the people at recording, 31% of you, take him out and look at another option. The popular option has been Joe Clark so far, but he's still only in 10% of teams. It's an easy one to make 40k that you can spend elsewhere because Clark will have the gloves and be opening the batting. Crossing over from the Stars, had some indifferent form last year, but yeah, somebody I think definitely you should consider. Fraser McGurk's another one, a very popular choice, 26% currently. A lot have him on the bench. If he is named in a fantasy-friendly role, so if he is opening the batting or batting at 3, then I can see a lot of people wanting to start him, and I will probably put him on the bench with the emergency on. If he's not in the side or looks like batting lower, he's an easy move to a Cooper Connolly, a Darcy Short, somebody like that who can be on your bench anyway, and you can. It's not going to cost a lot of money to get up to, and just might want to keep 5 to 10k in the bank just in case you need to make that move. Then we've got Sean Marsh, Wells, Finch, Madison will definitely play. So it's sort of what lineup will they go? If they choose to go one less bowler, which I now actually think potentially they might do. There's for the game 1 and 2, could definitely be playing all those guys. Mackenzie Harvey may even come into thoughts instead of say a Wells. That wouldn't surprise me as well. So yeah, that could be a top 5, could even make out to a top 6, depending if that's what they want to go. If they want to go the extra bowler, then it could be Rogers, Richardson, Zampa, Mudge with Siddle. It just depends on how they're feeling. If they want to only just go with the 5 bowlers and hope that Madison's able to roll the arm over, or do they need to rely on the 6 bowler? So Sids is still very popular, and he's actually had some really good form in the first class games here in Australia. So he's in 24%. I can understand that 75k, very popular. I'm just worried that potentially game 1, depending on the conditions, they might go a certain way, and then game 2 they might go the opposite way depending on matchup. So I'm not as confident on Siddle playing both games if they do. It'll just again depend on how many overs they want, if any of Madison bowling. So Will Sutherland sitting in there at either batting at 6 or 7. He's very interesting. I've had him in and out of my side, 21%. Finished off really well. He had a really poor start to last season. So for a guy who's still averaged 51.5 for the season, or 51.1, and he started off with 3, 13 and 13 in his first 3 games, definitely some value there at 158 if he's bowling 3 or 4 overs to try to activate that economy bonus. We know he's a great hitter at the end. Stepped up as the Victorian captain, so bowling really well in the Marsh series. He's I think the leading wicket taker at the moment in that. So yeah, there's not much to the only doubt there for him is if they play the extra bowler, is there potential that Sutherland only bowls like 2 or 3 overs? And if they play the extra bat, does that mean he falls further down the lineup? So I do have some question marks about him. I think I'd probably want to own him definitely for the round 3. It's just debating if I want to start him or not. Tom Rogers, I've had in my team up until a few days ago. His form in the practice matches wasn't great. at 184k, it's more than what I want to pay for. But somebody I'm hoping will drop in value and they will get in for round 3. Kane Richardson, another guy that's been in and on my side, made the Australian team for the T20 internationals over in India. Unfortunately, did pick up a glute injury, so he came out because of that. Could still line up round 1. If he doesn't, does that mean Siddle does play Mackenzie Harvey, or that Wells, that's the position that they take? And they just go the 5 bowlers then with Sids, Mudge, Zamps, Rogers and Sutherland, with Madison maybe there as the backup. So that is potential there that Richardson doesn't line up for game 1. If he was fully fit and going, then I probably would have had him in at 143k, because I can definitely see some value there. So that's a wait and see. Zamp is the most owned player for the Renegades at 33%. What can we more say about Zampa and his form at the moment? The most ever wickets in a World Cup. Like, he was bowling fantastic over there in that series. He does have, I think unlike some bowlers, he can be a bit more consistent, but he still had rounds of 3, 7 and 5 last season. A couple of big rounds, but then as the second half of the season came on, he kind of became more consistent, 34, 50, 23, 88. So I have a feeling that they're going to try and respect him, and they might try to take on Mudge more than they take on Zamps. He's not been one. Yeah, there's been some games where he's had economy bonuses. There's other games where he hasn't, and usually it kind of goes together. So if he's taking wickets, it seems that like he's also smothering the opposition with runs. But other games they have got off the chain and managed to take him apart. So I just feel like the form that he's in, they could try to respect him a lot more, and just might be some good economy bonuses, but don't take as many wickets, even though as good of a wicket taker as he is. Where Mudge, they might actually go after. And I have played around with that a bit, swapping Zampa and Mudge. The extra 5k sometimes does come in handy, and Mudge at only in 6% of teams. It's kind of a bit of a point of difference there. Mudge, he has games where, last year he had a couple of 9s, but other games, 106, 96, again, because, taking wickets, bowling well, economy rates down. So I've got no issue if people want to start both of them. It might be better than hedging the bets. And now with Richardson injured and Rogers' form not looking good, something that I've also considered, and just going with the 2 Renegades bowlers for round 1, and then you've got them there ready for round 3. So that might be the best way to do it. Going forward, I think you probably, perfect word, you might want to even start 4, because they're playing round 2 anyway. And then you can just look at trying to trade stars players in for round 3, something that I've probably thought about as well, unless, like I said in the stars, I've now got 3 stars players in Harper, Maxwell and Ralph. So potentially there, I could look at bringing in 2 stars and maybe 1 Renegade. So if I was to start with, say, Clark, Zampa and either a Sutherland and a Mudge, then I could potentially bring in a Rogers if he's cheaper, or a De Kock for round 3, and then bring in 2 stars players for that round, because the stars then have the double again in round 5. And that means I've got 4 Renegades that I can move on in round 4 if I want to. So that's kind of what I'm thinking with the Renegades. Be interesting to see what everybody else is thinking out there and what they're kind of doing, and which Renegades you're considering starting. As always, thank you for your support, and we'll be next up with another video, and I will move on to the Perth Scorchers. See ya.